90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachiku, and this is the World News at 6. These are the top stories. Tinubu approves NNPC's request to pay petrol subsidy. Oil marketers reveal cause of ongoing fuel scarcity. Report reveals presidential jet purchase for Tinubu was done without National Assembly approval. Onogen set to resume legal proceeding on CCT judgment that sacked him from office. Details now. The news begins with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approving the request by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to use 2023 dividends to pay petrol subsidy. The 2023 dividends were supposed to be paid into the Federation account, which should be shared among the three tiers of government. This is coming as the federal government has continued to deny the existence of petrol subsidy after President Tinubu announced subsidy is gone on his inauguration day on May 29, 2023. Now, you will recall that the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, in an interview said the gap between the landing cost and what petrol is sold by filling stations is covered by some organization, in quote. According to the cable online news, the president also approved the suspension of the payment of 2024 interim dividends to the Federation in order to augment NNPC's cash flow. Now, Nigerians may have to endure a little more on the lingering fuel scarcity across the country, as all marketers have attributed the recent scarcity of premium motor spirit to persistent logistical challenges. Addressing this pressing challenge while appearing on a Monitor television program today, the president of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association, Billy Gillis-Harry, explained that all marketers are currently facing supply constraints. Now, you will recall that this is not the first time NNPC had been talking about supply constraints. Witnesses have actually attributed the cause of supply constraints starting from Abuja over a month now. When asked to elaborate on the nature of these logistical challenges, he elaborated that the issue pertains to the process of ship-to-ship transfer. Until a ship has received its cargo, it is unable to deliver to any of the depot. Similarly, until the depot receive their products, the retailers are unable to access these products. Gilly-Harry, and abundantly, we will not be able to get out of the circle. I believe you must have heard the NNPC's communications director, who explained that the issues at stake are still logistics related. So until they get that resolved, we may just be managing the little they bring and give to us to distribute amongst our members. NNPCL is doing its best to bring in products beat by beat, and we can only supply what we have, end quote. Gilly-Harry's clarification regarding the scarcity comes following persistent shortages of products, particularly in the northern regions of the country. The situation escalated to the Federal Capital Territory, Lagos, and other states over the weekend. Reports earlier gathered indicated that a litre of petrol is now being sold between 800 naira and 1,000 naira a litre at some filling stations, a price increase that has also affected transportation cost. Nonetheless, some filling stations have not been selling the product as black market operators have exploited the situation to conduct business at a rapid pace. Now, let's take a listen to some commercial vehicle operators and commuters on how they have been coping with the scarcity and going about their businesses. Now, some of them had to respond in Yoruba language. I hope that we're able to understand what they say. Kindly stay with us. $1,800 per litre. Kátólì náà àmọ́ máa bẹ̀bẹ̀ ní nígbà yẹn wọ́n ti máa gba bribe lé lórí kẹ́ẹ̀jì. Wọ́n ti wá láwọn kàtà kẹ́ẹ̀jì gan mọ́ pé bọ́tò nìkan làwọn fẹ́ máa tà. Tó dẹ̀ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ́wọ́n náà ṣe ti pọ̀ tó oṣù láti wá ní ìsìn láti bọ̀ láti dé bíbá láti wá àrèpo. Àrèpo yẹn náà rà. Àti máa padà sí gáréjì náà ní tá máa padà sí.
Might not even get fuel. Another place where you can get very close to us, Amafuluku Road. They sell 900 naira per litre. Filling station. And the other one at Oja side, they sell 78 and 800. with a lot of Q2. And because of this, we find it very, very difficult.
You just listened to some of the commuters as well as the commercial vehicle operators express their dissatisfaction and discontent with the current situation. And still on the world news, a report has claimed that there was no approval by the National Assembly before the procurement of the new presidential jet, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You'll recall that in June, Premium Times had alleged that the Nigerian government had acquired an Airbus A330 aircraft from a German bank. The German bank had seized the aircraft from an unnamed Arabian prince and businessman who reportedly failed to pay hundreds of millions of dollars he owed the bank. Officials of the presidency, according to the online news platform, had kept their lips shut about the planned purchase of a new aircraft for the presidential air fleet. And since then, there has not been any official statement from the presidency on the matter. The matter died down until a recent news report revealed that the 3 Nigerian aircraft were seized by a Chinese firm acting on an order of a French court. The French court had ordered the seizure of the 3 jets amid a long-standing dispute between Zhongshan Fucheng Industrial Investment and the Ogun State government over a massive industrial park that was to be developed to attract investors. The planes were said to be undergoing routine maintenance at the time of the seizure. Meanwhile, the Chinese firm on Friday said it had released the Airbus A330 as a gesture of goodwill. The Airbus A330 for the president to travel for a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron. In a recent development, ongoing Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ariwoola, is facing severe allegations of nepotism and corruption. Critics are accusing him of prioritizing family interests over the integrity of the judiciary. Now, under Ariwoola's leadership, the National Judicial Council has been embroiled in controversies surrounding the appointment of judicial officers. Key allegations include the appointment of his son, Olukaide Ariwoola Jr., as a federal high court judge despite limited legal experience. His daughter-in-law, Ariwoola Olukemi Victoria, was also appointed as a judge of the FCT High Court. Adding to the controversy, Ariwoola's brother, Adebayo Lateef Ariwoola, was appointed as a head of the NJC's audit department, raising concerns about conflict of interest. Furthermore, the CJN facilitated the appointment of his nephew, Lateef Ganiyu, as a justice of the Nigeria Court of Appeal. These appointments have sparked outrage and raised questions about the merit-based nature of judicial appointments. You'll recall that Justice Mabel Shegun Bello of the FCT High Court has publicly stated that corruption and nepotism are rampant in the judiciary, with political backing often required to secure a judicial position. As Ariwoola prepares to step down, these allegations have cast a long shadow over his legacy and raised serious concerns about the state of the Nigerian judiciary. Meanwhile, in a recent development, the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge, is set to resume his legal proceedings against the Code of Conduct Tribunal judgment that led to his removal from office in 2019. This action will take place on Tuesday, the 20th of August 2024 at the Court of Appeal in Abuja. Now, you know that the legal action was initiated in April 2019. Justice Onoge is seeking the Court of Appeal's intervention to nullify and annul the CCT's decision issued against him on April 18, 2019 on several grounds. Justice Onoge, represented by his lead counsel, Adegboyega Awomola, a senior advocate of Nigeria, is petitioning the appellate court to overturn his conviction, primarily on the grounds of lack of jurisdiction, bias, and absence of fair hearing. In 2019, the Code of Conduct Tribunal convicted Onoge on all 6 counts of breaching the Code of Conduct for Public Officers, which were brought against him by the federal government during his tenure as the head of the judiciary in the country. In the preliminary ruling delivered by the chairman of the CCT, Danladi Yakubu Umar, it was mandated that Onoge be immediately removed from his position as Chief Justice of Nigeria. Furthermore, the tribunal revoked his previous positions, including chairman of the National Judicial Council and chairman of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. Additionally, the tribunal ordered the forfeiture of his 5 bank accounts and the assets within those accounts that Onogen failed to disclose in his asset declaration form submitted to the Code of Conduct Bureau, an agency of the federal government. Now, despite being on suspension since January 25, 2019 and having resigned on April 4, the tribunal still mandated his removal from office as Chief Justice of Nigeria and chairman of both the National Judicial Council and the Federal Judicial Service Commission. In response to that decision of the CCT, Onoge approached the Court of Appeal in Abuja in 2019, presenting 16 grounds for seeking the quashing of his conviction by the tribunal. He argued that the Dandali Umar-led CCT panel committed errors in law and caused a miscarriage of justice against him by failing to decline jurisdiction over the 6-count charges against him. He contended that the chairman of the CCT should have recused himself from presiding over his trial. You're currently listening to the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into a news analysis segment. This time around, I'll be speaking with Mr. Elvis Elimehele via the telephone. He'll be responding to some of the questions on the stories that were read out on the World News at 6. Kindly stay with us. Welcome back. This is still the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. I'm currently with Mr. Elvis via the telephone. Mr. Elvis, good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Esther. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm going to start off with this particular situation, the ongoing fuel scarcity in the country. And I don't know if you had listened to me when I started off the news, where the NNPCL representative was speaking via a monitored program today, and he had to explain the lingering fuel scarcity across the country because all marketers have attributed the recent scarcity based on persistent logistical challenges. This logistical challenges has been on for the past 2 or 3 months. Now, in terms of elaborating the nature of these challenges, he elaborated the issue pertaining to the process of ship-to-ship transfer, and that until a ship has received its cargo, it is unable to deliver to any of the depots. Now, currently in Lagos, there's fuel scarcity. Most areas where you're able to access the product, they're selling at a high rate of 1,000 or 800 naira per liter. In some of these filling stations, they're not even selling on the usual jerry cans that people usually take because, based on the fact that there is inconsistency with power supply or electricity supply. So people use an alternative means to generate electricity, and they don't sell in those jerry cans. Then the filling stations too, there's a long queue, which obviously gets into the highway and obstructs commercial activities. So there's traffic on the road. These, of course, has constituted to persons going about their daily activities or having access to several locations on their, locations of businesses. What say you on this, Mr. Elvis?
Yes, I think it's a big shame. Honestly, we don't even know where the truth is coming in from now any longer. NNPC have giving us different versions of this fuel scarcity. Like you rightly said, since April, we've been in this matter, dragging on. Since this year, Nigerians have never had respite concerning fuel supply in this nation. And the worst of it is that we don't even know the cost. We don't even know which one to believe. Today, NNPC will tell you is they have stock that can take the country for another 30 or even 2 months, 30 days or 2 or 60 days. At the end of the day, the fuel scarcity has not abated in petrol stations. It's so unfortunate that even after removal of subsidy, we were expecting to see a different trend in the downstream sector of the oil industry. Unfortunately, what we thought was going to end with the subsidy has now, climaxed into the situation we are now. It's even worse. During the time we don't have lingering fuel scarcity of this nature for months, but now it's off and on. goes off within 1 week, another 1 week is back. Abuja has never even had the time it has gone up.
In fact, the NNPCL is telling us right now, they're not giving us any respite. They're saying until this is resolved, then we can begin to have consistent supply of the products. In other words, they're telling us to endure these challenges for now. How do we endure it when we already know that this is basically what a lot of Nigerians rely on? Commercial vehicle operators as well as commuters are complaining on the hike in transport fares, and we do know that this will also affect goods and services. This will in turn affect food. Already we're complaining that food is very expensive, despite the fact that there are methods through which prices of food items can crash. So where does this put us in the next couple of weeks or maybe month?
It's going to aggravate the suffering Nigerians are going through. That's what we are seeing. I'm even surprised that NBS is telling us that inflation dropped a little bit this July. I mean, how can NBS be telling us with all what we are going through now? I hope as credible as that organization, they are not manipulating things, because it is even worse. You remember that when we have this kind of crisis in Nigeria, full stuff in the market to go up because transportation is already up. Yesterday, I bought fuel for 820 naira a liter. In Lagos here, after staying on the queue for over 1 hour. Can you imagine that? Then this is even Lagos where we think that it's regulated to some extent. By the time you go out of Lagos, where most of the food stores come into this city, Lagos, you will see that they are buying fuel as much as 1,000 plus. They are where the government is telling us that we should bear with them, and that we don't even know, as it is now, we don't even know when this is going to be come to an end. And remember, most homes power their generator with fuel, and that means, as we are talking about buying the food stock in the market, by the time you even buy it and manage to cook it, there is no refrigerator to keep it, because at the end of the day, when there is no electricity for NEPA and you cannot even afford the fuel, then it goes bad. These are just the problems that Nigerians face daily.
It's quite unfortunate.
The APC government keep telling us, bear with us. I don't know where somebody will want to tell you to bear hardship, to bear pain, to bear that Nigerians are committing suicide. Nigerians are almost going to degrade as a result of hardship, that is loaded on Nigerians in this government. Bear with us, but they are not facing it. They are buying new jets, they are buying yachts, they are building new houses, they are traveling everywhere. But Nigerians should bear. The fuel crisis on the Nigerian now for the past is not enough for the president to call all the ministers and even himself as the minister to run and say, what is the cause of this? But when we are hearing like that, the minister is going, the president is going to France today.
Yes.
I don't even know when he's going to come back. And that is the minister for petroleum and president of this nation is going to France. In spite of this hardship the country is facing, where he's going to, they cannot face this type of hardship for 1 hour. You see the whole country.
All right, Mr. Elvis, I would have to come in here because I have other questions to ask you, and we have very limited time. Let's look at the CJN, the outgoing CJN, who has been accused of blatant nepotism. Now, there's a report actually stating a family tree. There's a family tree drawn, all right, of the CJN. And the family tree starts with Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Lateef Ganiyu, a justice of the Nigeria court, and there's a tree all down along with Ariwoola's son, daughter-in-law. That tree is High Court judge, despite limited legal experience. His daughter-in-law, Ariwoola Oluwakemi Victoria, also appointed as a judge of the FCT High Court. And then adding to the controversy, his brother, Adebayo Lateef Ariwoola, was appointed as the head of the NJC's audit department, which also raised concerns about conflict of interest. And then, of course, he facilitated the appointment of his nephew, Lateef Ganiyu, as a justice of the Nigeria Court of Appeal. So, what do you say about all of this?
It shows the decay in the system, Esther. It shows that the system is not working. The institutions are not working. Ordinarily, one person cannot get to position and begin to empower every member of his family because he is opportune to be there. Unfortunately, but that's what we see in Nigeria. Apart from even himself, lining up all his family to be members of the judicial system of this nation, you see politicians are also bringing in their wives, bringing in their children, bringing in their girlfriends to become judges in Nigeria now. And that's the new trend. That's as the politicians are doing that, governors are doing it. That is to tell you now that the incoming Chief Justice of this nation, by God's grace, if Kekereko is sworn in as the new judge, new Chief Justice of Nigeria, he has a lot of job to do. The judicial system of this nation needs to be sanitized. When we were growing up, judges are like sacred persons. You don't see them in location. They don't come to people. I mean, leave this kind of flamboyancy that we see in today. That by the time you are the Chief Justice of the nation, you are going to bring in everybody.
Mr. Elvis, do you know the reason why this report came out? A particular Justice, Mabel Shagun Bello of the FCT High Court, not a state high court, FCT High Court, she made a statement publicly on the corruption and nepotism that are rampant within the judiciary. And she talked about the fact that if you do not have a political affiliation with the presidency or some form of alliance with the presidency, you wouldn't be considered to be elevated in the hierarchy within the NJC. Also, if you're not part of a political party or you're not one of a staunch supporter or a member of a political party, there is obviously a tendency for you not to be elevated, even if you already have the experience and the prerequisites to be elevated within the NJC. And she spoke on the fact that she did not get any political appointment, or rather did not get any political backing from any political party. Neither does she have any affiliation from the presidency. But then, of course, obviously, she's in the SCT, and these are the challenges. And this has brought the question of the integrity of CJN Ariwoola in his 2 years as the Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and him installing most of his family members or elevating them in several positions. So again, the Nigerian judiciary system is being questioned in terms of its integrity, and most of the cases concluded at the federal level is being put to question. Do you think this warrants such investigation?
Yeah, the investigation is quite necessary, but unfortunately, even when they are investigated, Esther, what is the end of it? It goes back to the same situation where we find ourselves. We are looking onto the new one that is coming now. We pray that she'll be able to change the trajectory. We already saw so much decay during this Ariwoola's regime, because especially the judgment that came out throughout the election petition tribunal and the court of Abia and all that came out in this 2023 general election. You know, Nigerians were taken aback. Nigerians got so surprised that Judiciary was, connived with INEC to rob us of most of the good governance that we actually looking onto with the 2023 general election. Unfortunately, this is where we find ourselves. But behold, we thank God that his tenure has come to an end, he's leaving. But let's begin to set agenda for the incoming one, so that we'll not go the same route. So at the time she is leaving again, we'll not begin to analyze this thing.
Well, Mr. Elvis, because of this recent development, there is also a cross-examination again on the 2023 elections. I know that Nigerians have actually accepted how things have gone, and we're trying to work with the president to ensure that his administration betters the lives of, a lot of Nigerians. But then, of course, this had made INEC come back again, despite the fact that all the talks of the elections had been concluded. On Friday, INEC had to make a public declaration on the fact that the 2023 presidential elections were authentic, because there was a report that disclosed that what INEC had announced was different from what was, written down at the collation center. And the report had indicted INEC of inconsistencies with the report that it declared. So INEC had to come again to defend the results and the win of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So when you see this situation that developed from that, the accusation of CJN Ariwoola of turning the NJC to his supposed family business, and a couple of statements made by Mabel, what do you say? How do you think this makes Nigerians feel? Mr. Elvis, are you there?
I'm with you. It makes Nigerians to be completely, let me tell you, Esther, the same INEC with all the jamboree, with all the shenanigans that went around it, in the general election. See now, have we had any change in INEC? The INEC person, like you said, I was looking at, I watched him on that when he was saying all these things. Okay. I was looking at, preparing for the do election now and don't do election.
Yes.
He started talking about the transmitting results now again from the polling booth to this. I was just laughing. Is he not this same man? Was it not all this he told us in 2023 that never stayed true? The problem, Esther, is that in Nigeria, nobody is held accountable for any infraction. That's why you see he keep repeating this, it become a norm. It now become like a habit that, he did it and got away with it, and I can also do it and get away with it. What somebody like the Mahmoud, the professor that the INEC, One would have expected, what is he still doing there? The government is supposed to be the government of the people. Nigeria said we are tired of this man. The election he gave us, Nigerians were not happy with his result. One would have done that by now. The National Assembly would have been thinking of how to come up with a sponsor bill on how to rejig INEC and injecting people that have the face to actually give Nigerians the desired government that we need. But unfortunately, they are all romancing with Robin because they know too well that they all got in there with this abracadabra lifestyle that he gave us in 2023.
Mr. Elvis, I do hope that CJN and Ariwoola would come out and respond to these allegations against him because it's quite important. And then no other senior judicial high-ranking officer has come up to, would I say, backtrack the statement that was made by Justice Mabel when she made a statement of the fact that you need a political backing from one of the political parties as well as an affiliation from the presidency to be elevated. We've not heard any high-ranking justice or judicial officer come to counter the statement she had made. And we do hope that Justice Ariwoola at the same time will come and make clarify himself from this particular family tree business that he's been accused of turning the NJC in the 2 years of his tenure. Now let's look at Abia State. The Deputy Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has disclosed that the APC will evict the incumbent Alex Oti from Government House in the next governorship election. The next governorship election is slated for 2027, but Kalu has urged the governor to pack his load as the APC is ready to take over. Do you consider that a threat? And what audacity or spine does Benjamin Kalu have to state categorically that this is the only time the Labour Party will be the party in charge of Abia State? Come 2027, he will be evicted and the APC will be in charge. Where do you think that statement is coming from, or that certainty is coming from?
Very careless statement, Esther. I got so disappointed from that statement from Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps. I see him like a responsible gentleman, but coming out to such utterances is something that he is not even the one that will dictate for the Abia. Abia know the person that they will elect come 2027. And good enough, the person is even threatening, because I see those statements threatening. That's to tell you that the system is not working. If the system is working, nobody will come and threaten you that you are going to leave that office. Let the system do his job, and let the person that is elected by the people, remain there. Not even when Alex Oti is turning around the trajectory in Abia State. Hussein Abia have been a victim of circumstances, the beginning of this democracy since 1999. It's only now light is coming into Abia as a governor.
Mr. Elvis, I want to explain. He said that it's a way, that is the only way to compensate the president. The hard work of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is to ensure that the ruling APC takes over the state, saying his relationship with the governor will not sway his decision. He said Alex Oti is his brother and they're friends, but he has told him face to face that Labour Party will not be in charge in 2027, and that to repay the hard work of the president, APC has to come on board in 2027. Now, you remember that Ganduje, after the off-season elections or off-cycle election, actually told a couple of APC members during a strategic meeting that they needed to strategically take over all the southeastern states. That is the only way the APC can ensure that, yes, they have most of the states across the federation, that they need to ensure that APC becomes the flag bearer or the party occupying or leading most of the southeastern states. So do you think this statement made by Benjamin Kalu is coming from that angle? Work is already on ground to achieve that for 2027.
Yeah, work is from ground. There's no disputation about that. They have already started realigning. They already started cooking up the system, or how they're going to hijack the states, that they are not there. But let me tell you, Esther, with this situation Nigerians are going through, do you even think that if election is playing and playing this nation, that APC will even win the local government, ideally, if not manipulation and all this that they are already cooking up in Abuja and how they are going to unleash it on Nigerians in 2027, with what we are going through now? Nigerians, every day, in fact, you just see the protest that just ended, hunger strike protest, good bad governance protest. If really the system works, APC cannot win the local government in this nation any longer. But unfortunately, we just heard from Benjamin Kalu now concerning we are going to take it from Labour Party. That is how they write it. That's why they put the people who will do their bidding in system.
Mr. Elvis, Benjamin Kalu categorically stated that he is confident because the government is working hard. The president is working hard, and Abia will repay the president. He also said APC will determine who will become the next governor of Abia State. He didn't say the people. He didn't say Nigerians. He didn't say residents of Abia State. He said the political party will decide who becomes the president, the governor of Abia State. He doesn't care about whoever it is that will emerge as governor of Abia State, so long as the person is an APC party member. And that one thing he knows is that the platform APC will be the party in charge in 2027. Like I asked you earlier, there is something that is giving him the spine and the authenticity or the authority to categorically make that statement brazenly that APC must in 2027 become the political party in charge of Abia State. Is that something Benjamin Kalu is telling us in broad daylight, in plain book, that we don't know?
It's a spite on the people of Abia because one person, he has only one vote ideally, if everything were to go, normally. He has only one vote. I mean, the people own the government, not Benjamin Kalu. He's not supposed to be the person that will be saying that APC do not hold any government in Nigeria. APC, the people owns the government. So if the Abia people buy into what he's saying, well, good and bad, but I have to weather with the level Alex Otti has taken Abia to. And everybody is using even Abia State as yardstick for other state governors now, that all this is saying is going to be disappointed. I remember how Alex Otti fought his way. Remember the vice chancellor of Federal Institute of Technology, Owerri, how that woman stood by Alex Otti's vote that even made Alex Otti to be here. So people know that the same way they are planning, God is also going to demystify them. Such person will be here as that's called 2027. That will retain the good governorship the Abia people are enjoying now.
Yeah.
2027.
All right, Mr. Elvis Elimehele, thank you so much for taking your time to share your perspective and give us insight and something to the questions that were posed at you in the World News at 6. We sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you, Esther. Have a nice time.
Yes, you're welcome. That was Mr. Elvis Elimehele right there on the analysis segment, giving us his own insight on most of the stories that were read out on the World News at 6. And just before we go, here again are the top stories. President Tinubu approves NNPC's request to pay petrol subsidy. Oil marketers reveal cause of ongoing fuel scarcity. Report reveals presidential jet purchase for Tinubu was done without National Assembly approval. Onogen set to resume legal proceeding on CCT judgment that sacked him from office. That's a wrap on the World News at 6. My name is Esther Wachiku. Good evening and thank you for listening.